YouTube, what it do? Tyler here from All Hell Breaks Loops, and this time around I want to take a look at my music workflow for writing music while traveling and then flushing that out at my studio. I'll be using Cubasis on my iPad, Cubase 7 and Reason 7 on my MacBook Pro, and a Thrash riff from the bowels of hell. Well, more like a 3 out of 9 on the Dante scale, so that puts us clearly in the realm of gluttonously heavy. So we're going to start everything off by importing the riff that we're going to use to make our drums from. So we're going to do that by clicking on the Setup button, and then over here in the bottom left corner there's the Wi-Fi server. So we're going to turn that on, and then we're going to go to a browser and then just type in that IP, and if you want to be thorough, http://10.0.1.4, and we're going to be using the port 8080. And so this will change depending on your setup and your configuration, but the wireless server browser name should be right there. So then you're going to go in here and type for file name audio. And as you can see, I've already got a couple audio files in there. So you're going to go ahead, choose your own file, import that. In my case, I've already got the Cubase's Thrash riff already in. So I am all set with that. So the next step is we can turn off the Wi-Fi server, and then we can close the setup menu. And now we're going to create a new project. So now we're going to go over to media at the top, and then under projects, create new project from a template. Double tap on that, enter a project name. We're going to call it Cubasis Guitar Thrash. Spell it right. And okay, so now we've got a brand new track. So now we're going to go ahead, and this is a little convoluted, but we're going to add a MIDI track. Where it says acoustic piano, click on the piano button, and then in instruments, we're actually going to drop that up to audio, and then go all the way to the bottom. And you can see it's got a couple things for us down here. So we're actually going to use the Cubase's Thrash riff, so then we can audition it here. And we're going to double tap that to import it. Now, the other key thing is we have to actually change the tempo, because right now we're at 120, and we know that this riff was set at 180. So you can pinch and zoom to scroll the different views right here. So we're going to pinch that, then go up here to 120, and just hold on to that until we get to 180. Watch, it will ramp up a little bit. Make sure we've got it. 180 on the dot. All right, now we can click out of there, and so now we just want to make sure the metronome is enabled. We're just going to go to the beginning and listen back to that and make sure that's in time. Go back to, again, this acoustic piano over here. We're going to click on that, and then we're going to change this to a drum kit. So now we could go, let's say we want a studio sound. We can play that. If that's not to your liking, we can go for more rock kit sound. I think this will work. The kick is a little bit clickier just for our kind of demo. Double tap on that, and as you can see over here, now it's changed the piano to a rock kit. All right, we've got this all set up. The metronome is enabled, and then that'll give us 2 bars of pre-roll. We're going to go through, make sure that the pads are working, and then if we hit record, that'll get us all set up. So make sure we're at the beginning, hit record. Now once we have that much, we can go back and listen. Great, that's all set. Now we can go through to the next part, but then now we've decided that once we come in here, we've got a harmony on the riff. So we want to kind of keep that energy. We're going to hold it back for a little bit. We're going to go over here, hit the split key, and that will actually split the audio information that we have in half. Then we can go to the select, take that, drag it over about, let's say this far, go over here, and then we can copy, and that'll copy the selected part. And then again, we have the audio track selected, so we do paste, and that'll drop that in. Then we'll take the harmony, tuck it back in here so that we're doubling up on the normal riff. And now we're ready for our next drum part. Again, opening up the pads view, and this time we're going to do kind of a polka beat, and we're going to start with the closed hi-hat. So that sort of thing. And then we'll move on to open hi-hat and keep it again with the toms for the fill. Again, hitting record, 2 bars of pre-roll. Let's go. mute that for now. Go back and listen. Killer. All right, again, tucking that in a little bit. Oops. Again, if you make any mistakes, you can undo, and that will undo the last action. So we're going to make sure that's ready. And then, now when we get to here, we can zoom that in a little bit, make sure we're right on that downbeat. And now we're going to go drop in some blasts. So we're going to have first drop in the kick and the snare, and then we'll overdub it with some crash elements and ride. Ready for some blasts. Listening back. Last horrific. And the last step, once we have the sketch up, is to go through and export. So if we go over here, select the project, we're Cubasis Guitar Thrash, click on share, and the easiest way to share is to upload to Dropbox. So that's going to compress everything and move it over to Dropbox. We're all set for Dropbox, and now we can go ahead and import it into Cubase. Now that we're all done sequencing everything in Cubasis, we're going to actually port everything over to Cubase. So the most important step is to make sure that the Steinberg Cubasis project importer is installed on your system. That's the only way we'll be able to pull the file up. So in my case, Mac OS X, make sure this is downloaded and installed. If you're on Windows, you can do the same over there. Once we have that all set up, we're going to jump to Cubase, and then we're going to go ahead and start a new project. So then if you go ahead, just start an empty project over here. It gives a couple options. We're going to set the project folder. We are going to go back to Cubase projects, and we've already made a folder called Cubasis Guitar Thrash. Wonderful. We're going to import, and then now we have the option for Cubasis project. And fortunately enough, we've already put these files, and they were the ones that were downloaded from Dropbox, into Cubasis Guitar Thrash. Now I have this Cubasis Guitar Thrash.cbp file. So we're going to open that, create a new project. No thanks. We'll just put it into the existing one. And we have completed the import of our project. Now we're going to take a look at everything we have so far. So as you can see, it's opened up an instance of Halion Sonic SE for the rock kit that we have. We'll change that shortly, but just to hear how it turned out. But what we did get was taking that riff that we pre-recorded, used it in the Cubasis app. We're able to kind of sketch out some ideas and do some just very basic sequencing on it, and then pull it into Cubase in the form of MIDI. So now we can go through and remap this to a preferred sampler or something like that. And now once I've added some bass and I've kind of played around with some of the drum fills and added a little bit of mixing and processing, everything sounds a bit like this. There you go, a riff straight from my head to my iPad and then flushed out into a full mix. Please subscribe if you like what you saw, check out some of my other video tutorials, and if you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll see you next time.